Picture a prehistoric camp at dawn. A mother sits against a rock wall, a newborn pressed against her chest. The baby cannot walk, cannot feed itself, cannot survive a single hour without her. Every other large mammal in that landscape gave birth to offspring that could stand, move, and function within hours. Hers couldn't. And yet, her species would eventually take over the planet. The reason why starts with a problem that almost killed us. A human baby is born with only 25% of its adult brain size. A chimpanzee is born with 45%. A horse foal is born with nearly 80%. By every neurological measure, humans are the most underdeveloped newborns of any large mammal on Earth. Scientists have a name for this. They call it secondary altriciality, being born unfinished. And for decades, nobody could fully explain why evolution produced it. Then, in the 1960s, anthropologist Adolph Portmann proposed something uncomfortable. He argued that humans aren't really born at 9 months. The biological gestation period that would produce a neurologically developed newborn, one comparable to a chimp at birth, would be closer to 18 to 21 months. But something forced that birth window to close at 9 months instead. Something physical. Something that couldn't be negotiated with. Two things happened to our ancestors at almost exactly the same time in evolutionary history, and they were on a direct collision course. The first was bipedalism. Around 4 million years ago, our ancestors stood up. Walking on 2 legs freed the hands, extended the range, and changed everything about how early humans moved through the world. But it came with a cost. Standing upright narrowed the pelvis. The birth canal, the passage a baby travels through during birth, got significantly smaller. The second was brain expansion. Starting around 2 million years ago, the human brain began growing at a rate unprecedented in evolutionary history. Larger brains meant smarter offspring, better tools, better survival. But larger brains meant larger skulls, and larger skulls had to pass through a birth canal that was getting narrower, not wider. This is what scientists call the obstetric dilemma: a narrowing exit, a growing head. 2 evolutionary pressures pulling in exactly opposite directions. For millions of years, the skull and the pelvis were in an arms race that neither side could win. Evolution's solution was brutal and brilliant at the same time. Push the baby out early, before the brain gets too large to pass through. Finish the development outside the womb, in the world, pressed against the mother's body instead. Now picture that prehistoric camp again. The fire has burned low in the pre-dawn cold. The mother hasn't slept. The newborn against her chest is warm and breathing, but completely dependent. Every hour, every feeding, every moment of warmth entirely provided by her. What that scene actually represents is the 3rd trimester happening outside the body. The brain that couldn't finish developing inside is finishing out here, in the cold, by firelight, held against living skin. Human newborns are born with brains that will triple in size in the first year of life. No other primate comes close to that rate of external brain development. And that explosion of growth outside the womb produced something no other species developed. Prolonged helplessness forced prolonged caregiving. Prolonged caregiving forced cooperation. And cooperation, tribes of adults sharing the burden of raising children who couldn't care for themselves for years, is the foundation of almost everything that makes human civilization possible. The helplessness wasn't a flaw, it was the engine. Because a chimp infant that can cling and climb within days doesn't need a village. A human infant that cannot lift its own head for months absolutely does. And that dependency created the social bonds, the shared labor, the accumulated knowledge passed between generations that no other species ever achieved. Your brain didn't just grow large because intelligence was useful. It grew large because the system forced it to finish developing in a social environment, surrounded by other humans, absorbing language and behavior and culture from the moment it arrived, 3 months before it was biologically ready to be here. So the next time you see a newborn, completely helpless, entirely dependent, unable to do almost anything a newborn of any other large mammal can do, understand what you are actually looking at. You are looking at the most ambitious evolutionary bet ever placed. A species that decided to finish building its most important organ outside the body, in the middle of the world, held in the arms of the people who would teach it everything it needed to survive. That bet paid off. You are the evidence.